Obama has been trying to promote a different trade deal called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP. The future of that agreement is looking a little brighter because of domestic and political changes here in the U.S., and we've got Jessica Stone, who is the White House correspondent, to give us a little explanation of what this is all about. It's another competing trade deal. Right, and we heard a little bit about it from Han Bin, and as you know, in Washington, we're very much used to all of these acronyms, but these are very important and they're very different. FTAAP, or FTAAP, stands for Free Trade Area of the Asia Pacific. It's a proposal that's been backed by China, but also by the United States. It involves the 21 member APEC economies and trying to basically consolidate 42 bilateral FTAs that are already in the region. So that's one concept. Again, both the Chinese and the U.S. back that one, but the U.S. wants to do FTAAP through something called TPP, which is this Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's 12 nations bordering the Pacific, and it does not include China. Very fascinating stuff. It's a little bit complicated, but you've got something right here.
As president, strengthening American leadership in the Asia Pacific has been one of my top foreign policy priorities.
It's been 6 years since negotiations began on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and U.S. President Barack Obama and his trade team are still selling it. The agreement would tie together 12 nations bordering the Pacific Ocean in an unprecedented, high-standard free trade zone. China is not a party. Obama administration officials insist TPP, which would benefit U.S. exporters like this candy maker, is not anti-China, and that China is still welcome to join.
It means more trade, more good jobs, and higher incomes for people throughout the region, including the United States.
But TPP faces some opposition at home. U.S. consumer watch group Public Citizen released a statement this week saying the agreement would, quote, promote lower wages, higher medicine prices, and more unsafe imported food. U.S. midterm elections have ushered in a more pro-free trade Congress, who are much more likely to give President Obama the authority to negotiate TPP with what's called fast-track authority. This is the first trade agreement that a U.S. president has attempted to negotiate without it.
International trade, we think it's good for America. And so I've got a lot of members who believe that international trade agreements are a winner for America.
Still, American business leaders and academics say even with fast-track authority, the TPP talks face significant challenges, particularly over discussions to lower Japan's beef and automobile tariffs.
Well, it's always darkest before the dawn. I think you will ultimately get a pretty quality agreement, and I think Japan will sign on for all the right reasons.
So that's a bit of state of play, really, on the TPP, Phil. Still uncertain, though, is how and when Capitol Hill would bring this up. Of course, not only do they need to pass this fast-track authority that would give the president authorization or speedier authorization to negotiate such a deal, they also need to pass the free trade agreement itself. And we know that we do have more free trade supporters in the U.S. Congress as a result of the midterm elections. But the Republican majority is sure to try to exact some concessions.
I was just going to say that because I'm sure Congress has some questions for President Obama. It's going to give him some headaches. Jessica, good to see you, of course.